Hello, Lakshmi.
Hi,
I'm so happy to have you here again. And as promised to
same
all
here.
my viewers, me and Lakshmi had decided that we'll come back with more topics that actually impact the mental health of a person. And why not start it from social media? Social media is so important for all of us, right, Lakshmi? It has become such
Yes.
an integral part of our lives right now. You know,
Yeah, right now we are on social media, aren't we?
yeah, we are on social media and we're discussing about social media. So,
Yeah,
so
yeah, absolutely.
social media has become like a mini village. It has connected so
Yeah,
many people. We know so many things about different people, what they're doing, where they're traveling, what they're eating, what they're wearing. To
true.
oh my God, what information! So, there's nothing that we cannot imagine is not there on social media. Everything is there on social media. So, Lakshmi,
Absolutely.
my question to you, something which is like it inherently comes. How much does it affect our mental health? How does it affect?
Actually, social media affects our mental health in various ways, negative and positive. We'll discuss the negatives probably as we are talking, and positives also. But what I'd like to say is that we need to understand that social media is part of our connection, interconnection, and communication channel. As social beings, human beings, we are that we need people's connections for easing our stress, for feeling a sense of value about ourselves, a sense of self-worth. It's comfort also. It provides us comfort to be in touch with people. That's why we, in fact, as Indians, we love staying in family with family and not, single individual, because we know that the comfort it provides us, and of course that helps us to get rid of the loneliness. So these are all normal things that a human being requires, and there is some amount of connection, in fact, a large amount of connection that social media now provides if we use it effectively for ourselves.
Right,
So we need to understand this aspect also of social media and not just look at its negative.
right. Not just look at the negative. So, social media, as you said, they're like both the things that we get, like the positive also and the negative also. Like it's like the
Hmm,
boon in many matters, but it's like a curse in
hmm,
others. If you see the
hmm,
information, there's so much of information, but it also leads to
right.
polarization, excessive negative behavior. So, how does one use social media for making themselves a better version of themselves? Whoever they are, let them make a better version of that themselves.
Yeah, if you use social media for good connectivity, like I just connectivity. Hence, we need interconnectedness with everyone. Once we understand that and utilize social media specifically for that, then we are on the using the positive aspects of social media. Like say staying up to date with family and friends. You said it's a global village. It is
Yeah,
really a global village. Because you can keep up to date with your through Facebook, through WhatsApp, with a large number of people across the globe in different time zones. Sometimes even though telephones were available for a long time now and we could talk to each other very easily on ISD and STD, it is not the same thing as social media, because social
because social media.
helps each other respect each other's timings, because we are not intruding into someone else's time. Since we all work at different time zones across the globe, this is one of the advantages that we can use. If we have groups, then we can put up our thoughts, processes of what we are feeling, maybe, different photographs. So this is how you can keep in touch within yourself, within your family and friends. That's one of the good aspects of social media, keeping up to date with family and friends, feeling the comfort that they give you. The second good aspect of social media,
Lakshmi, I think.
talk about communities first.
Yeah,
So by communities, I mean like clubs or hobbies or interests that you have, even more acutely, that we can't travel very easily. But even before COVID, if you really looked at the way we live in urban centers and even otherwise, we can't travel across the city regularly to meet up and
Your
so
voice
say
is cracking.
it's cracking. Um, can you hear me better now, or it's still
Yeah,
cracking?
now still go on. I think you should
It's
go
still
on.
better. Okay.
Our viewers will excuse
So
for this one.
okay, so I was saying that communities, you can find different communities for your hobbies online. Like, say, I'm interested in fish rearing or gardening, and I live in one of the, say, 100 kilometers away from Mumbai. So I can have a gardening center and I can experiment and I do lots of things which I enjoy. Someone living in South Bombay could not reach me without social media. Today they can join a community, and all of these people with different resources, people who grow plants in potted areas or in balconies or inside the garden, the gardeners who actually garden outside and then they are experimenting and they see how much knowledge sharing can happen. The same way you meet friends, you make new friends, and even if they are online friends, they are from the same kind of hobby and interest background that you like people have different kinds of groups online and different kinds of
Groups, yeah.
communities. This was not possible without social media. So that's another positive aspect. Similarly, causes can also be very good on social media. Like supposing you're a dog lover or an animal lover, stray cattle, stray kittens, stray dogs. We have a lot of stray animals in India. How quickly internet and the social media connects you when you want to adopt someone, when one of the animals is being abused. So many things can be, so you can pick up a cause, you can add meaning to your life. Like maybe you work half a day, maybe you have half a day and like free to do something else. Maybe you just like being part of a cause. You couldn't have done all these things without social media.
Without the social media. Right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, in between there was a drop. So
Yeah. Okay,
it's okay,
so
you carry
these
on.
are different causes. Yeah, so these are different causes that that helps with social media. The other thing is that you can work remotely now. This is very, very important and has become so important to us in COVID. And just imagine these COVID times without any social media and internet connectivity. I think we would not have coped as much as we have been able to cope now. Not that COVID is a good thing and it's not necessary.
Yeah,
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that it's brought out the need for establishing the
connection.
positivities and the positive aspect of connection and being able to work remotely. There are marginalized communities, which can be brought in through causes on social media. You can live in remote areas, work with them, and connect with resources in urban areas, resources of money, resources of knowledge. Like I can sit here and help people in Marathi in how, because I speak Marathi as a second language, in how to help teachers explain to their student how to manage mental well-being and health of the teachers in the tribal areas. I could not have done it without social media, without WhatsApp, without Zoom. All these are part of social media. And of course, the other thing is the outlet. You can use social media as an outlet for your creativity. There are so many amongst us who love painting. Then you put it up on one of your social media channels, or people who love writing, not just novels and this, but maybe poems, maybe articles, maybe research. So there is a lot there that could be used positively for one's growth, personal growth, and mental growth.
That's very nice. I mean, I've got so many lessons right now when I was speaking. When you're telling all these things, connectivity, you're talking about causes, you're talking about hobbies. There's so many things that come into this aspect, especially the positivity
Yeah.
that social media gives us. There's so much that actually social media has
Yeah.
given us. But do you think that the excessive
True.
use of social media sometimes can lead to the I mean, does it happen? Does it happen that the excessive use of social media can lead to lower self-esteem or low confidence?
Yes, very much. When we use it like in a toxic fashion, where we just get onto social media to check what others are doing. So there's a competitive element in that. because there's a large part of social media is about talking about the self, especially some of the social media applications are
Of the social
even
media.
Facebook. These are meant to draw attention continuously, keep you hooked, so as to speak, on their platforms. Illusion of a life that maybe a friend or maybe an acquaintance has. And that then starts questioning our self-worth. Though at the back of our mind, we know that they're only going to put up the best of what they want, the nicest part of their holiday, or, like the nicest part of that part of the week or anything. So it's that perfect illusion that all of us keep wishing that we would have. And if we keep on hooking onto this because the platforms are made such that they hold your attention, then the toxicity element comes in, because you start degrading your own self-worth. You start thinking, oh, I don't have such a great life. I don't go on this kind of a holiday. Oh, that person is so lucky. What a nice house they live in. But then they may be showing you the nicest corner of their house, and the rest of the house may not be so perfect as you imagine in your head. Or their holiday may not be as perfect as you imagine. And I can make myself look fairer on social media. I can put nice bright lipstick. I don't live like that. So there's a little cutoff from reality that happens. As if we stay tuned into that reality on Facebook or on Snapchat or any social media platform, then we will save ourselves from this kind of, constant, there's a term for that. What's it called? Fear of missing out.
FOMO.
FOMO, which is, which
I was
is
actually going to
one
come to
that,
that.
oh, great. Okay. So ask.
So, how real is FOMO? Was my question, but you've already answered some part of it. Please go on. How real is FOMO?
FOMO is very real. FOMO is very real, especially with a younger generation that is, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear
Yeah,
you.
okay. So it's because FOMO is all about self-esteem, about missing out on something that someone is going to do. So in our heads, there is this thought going on that that person is happier than me.
Yeah.
Now, now I can be happy is a very achievable possibility.
Possibility. You there? Yeah.
Yeah, I can study well. I can dress the way I want to feel. All these are achievable because you're only thinking about what you want. The minute the FOMO hits, that is the fear of missing out, based on this illusionary reality that you see in Facebook or in Snapchat or Instagram, the perfect look, the perfect hair, the perfect, like what used to happen to us earlier when we saw models, and we really imagined that the model's life and what they lived in the movies
Was absolutely real. Is it?
now we are seeing it on a daily basis.
There was a
Did you hear
drop
me?
in between.
Okay. So I was saying that when we want to be happy for ourselves or we want to achieve success for ourselves, it is achievable. But if we are in a constant comparison for achieving this happiness or achieving this success in comparison, in comparative terms, in competition constantly with that perfect illusion of someone else on Facebook, someone else on Snapchat, someone else on Instagram, then you get into a mental
Mental.
thought processes about yourself become more and more negative. You can never keep up with that perfect illusion because it is an illusion. It's a perfect reality that is created on social media through great photographs, through great stories, never talking about any part of the reality.
Right.
So you,
Illusionary world. A
yeah,
lot of
yeah,
is an
yeah.
illusionary world.
It's like a cherry picked perfect illusion, out of that person's life that is put on a social media platform. And then if you have this thought process that I can only achieve this my success in comparison to that other person's success, or I can achieve my happiness only in comparison to that person's happiness, then you're surely facing an issue. It's like, I read my bank statements at the end of every month because I need to know how much I've saved, how much I've, and then I compare it with Bill Gates' bank statement or the Forbes 40 list.
So true, Lakshmi. You give
I'm
such a
going,
wonderful example.
I'm going to hit a low, no? And I'm going to say, oh my God, I have such a long way to go.
I like
And
this
I'll never
song.
make it.
But see, there's this lot of a section of our users also go through the status anxiety, like how you pointed out. अरे यार ये टूर पे जा रही है, मैं नहीं जा पा रहा हूँ, or something like that. Okay, she went
Yeah.
into this Emirates का business class, and I am only traveling in economic class of some jet airways. So this status anxiety. Then there will be someone,
Yeah.
अरे यार मैंने तो अभी तक plane में travel ही नहीं किया, तुम तो ये बात कर रहे हो. So a lot of users, they suffer from the status anxiety.
Yeah. Status anxiety is comparison, no, again. It's that
Yeah.
competitive
Comparison.
that you get into the toxicity of it. The negativity only hits you. There's no positivity that hits you. Whereas if you look at, you only compare yourself to yourself in the sense like, okay, first class, first graduate, I did my master's properly. Now I've done my, like my MBA from a good college, and I'm on a good post in the middle of my life, and I'm going to go ahead well. I've managed to buy a house for myself. How many positive things are there in your life? But then you put on Facebook and you see someone from your college having, like, as you rightly said, going in club class on Emirates,
Right.
so and so is traveling, so and so is checked into this airport, checked into that airport, and you feel like, oh my God, look at where I am.
Actually, I'll tell you, there's this one very funny incident. Someone had logged into the London Heathrow airport. So they checked into, sorry, let me put it this way. They had checked into this London
Checked
Heathrow
in.
airport, and I just happened to see that Facebook status. And I was like, wow, this guy has gone to London Heathrow airport. Oh wow, oh nice. And when I was there, I was like, this is such an okay place. Why was I comparing myself with it?
Exactly.
So I look
Exactly.
back and think, यार नहीं,
ये नहीं करना है, ऐसे
ये नहीं
नहीं
करना है,
सोचना ही नहीं है ऐसे.
सोचना ही नहीं है. So
Yeah.
exactly. So I remember taking pictures, and then so many pictures we take when we go to the travel, and
Yeah.
so many pictures, and then we realize कि यार ये तो 50 pictures हो गई है, but you cannot put every 50 picture on the social media. So you choose one of them and then two of them. Most of them are the same ones.
Yeah.
Not much of a difference. And we're like, array, there's like nothing is real on social. I mean, especially when it comes to the human, attaching our human emotions.
Most of it.
Most of it. Now, there's this one more question which I had was like an intense competition and excessive exposure, like what we were talking about, the status anxiety of not being enough, you know and how should one overcome that? आप बोल रहे हो contentment रहना चाहिए, but कोई अपने अंदर कैसे लेकर आएगा ये contentment? You there? Okay, to our viewers, I'm repeating this question because there was some lacuna happened in between. There was something wrong. So we're just repeating this question again. So there's this intense comparison, then there's this excessive exposure to the social media. So apart from being this, like how we had discussed right now, the status anxiety hota hai. So apart with that, it comes like, feelings of not being enough in the life comes in also. So how should one, be more content? एक तरफ तो ठीक है ये, because it is very easy to speak, but what all practices would you recommend as a counselor for someone to be content with what they have, be happy with what they have?
Um, One of the first things to realize is that you should not compare what you want to achieve, what you want to succeed in, and where your happiness lies in comparison to somebody else. And that's what social media forces you to do if you're not aware of it. You can decide what your own goals are, you can decide how you want to achieve them, and you can decide where your happiness lies. But if it is by looking inwards and deciding what you want, then all these things are achievable. But if you're in constant comparison, then first of all, you have a problem because you're in comparison, and it is always more difficult to keep comparing yourself with somebody else in competition and trying to achieve it, because that leads and starts your lack of self-esteem, and then it goes on towards more stress, more anxiety, and eventually into depression. When there is a competitive thought process in your mind with whosoever you want to around you, mostly it happens with your peer group. Now, this is exaggerated a lot on social media when you think about it, because you're only seeing that cherry-picked perfect illusion that others put up about their life on social media. You don't see the reality of their life at all. So hook off this comparison thought process first in your mind. Then you might begin to enjoy that social media process, and you might even begin to then healthily say, okay, if she's putting up a nice picture, let me try and get a nice picture of myself. But you're not mentally in comparison to that picture constantly. That is a very important thing to understand. Help yourself get over this process of feeling this lack of self-esteem about yourself, feeling that there is something wrong with you, or that you have not achieved what you set out to achieve, because now you're comparing it to someone else's success. That is what we spoke in the earlier question. If I look at my bank account at the end of the month and I say, okay, I've been able to put away 50% of my savings, I've managed my expenses, my rate of earning is quite good and it's going up steadily every month. But if I look at the bank statements of Ambani's and Adani's or Bill Gates or somebody else and say that, hey, they are there, why can't I be there? You're never going to be happy. You're going to start feeling that pinch of, like I'm not good enough. And that I'm not good enough then leads to lack of self-esteem, which we started the question with. So we have to be careful of that. We have to understand this thing of looking inwards to ourselves.
Wow, I love such conversations with you, Lakshmi. I mean, there's so many insights that you bring out, and I really love talking to you. So my last question is: are we living in times wherein it's not, it's it's very difficult for us not to be notified about something? Like if I'm not talking about the FOMO part, but then we cannot live without being notified something. Are we living in that sort of a
True.
time?
True, because we are living in heavy communication times, in the sense we are constantly in communication with each other, which wasn't the case earlier. So what we have to do then is to find the time for reflection and looking inwards. These two are important factors if we want personal growth and mental stability and learning how to manage and regulate our emotions. We need to look inwards. We need to have time to self-introspect. We need to think, okay, what am I doing about myself, about my life, about my family? This you will not find on social media and through connectivity, because we need to pause and think. So this is one of the large aspects that we have lost out on, which we need to regain by not being constantly hooked onto the stream of thought, the interconnectedness that communication and social media and the World Wide Web has opened for us. That is one point. The second point is a lot of us have lost this thought process of look at the bright things of life. This is actually scientifically very valid for a good mental health state. We have stopped looking, as I said, we stopped looking inwardly, we stopped looking at the good things in our own life also, because we are constantly monitoring someone else's life through social media. So when we look at our own life, like I had a client recently who said, in my life. I've lost everything, all meaning in my life. This was after a breakup. After speaking to him for 10 minutes, I realized that he lives with both his parents. He has a great relationship with them. He's doing fairly well in his career. And yet he thinks he has no love in his life. When he has two parents whom he looks forward to go home to chat with them. But because he's looking at his friends' Facebook space with maybe attractive partners and, maybe evening going out or whatever, the social connections, he thinks he has no love in his life. I said, you don't have a partner in life. You might want to look for a partner in life, but that doesn't mean you have nothing in life. There was no space for introspection. So this is what we need to do. And the other one, as I told you, is, as I'm telling you, is one of the things that we have all forgotten is how to express gratitude for it. If we introspect, then we also give ourselves the time to say thank you. Thank you to life. If you believe in God, thank you to God. To feel good about whatever it is that you do have in life. We have really forgotten this because of constant comparison, which happens through social media. So I think those are important aspects that we have forgotten. And another aspect is what, Namita, you will only be able to our viewers can know specifically through you is mindfulness. Mindfulness, being aware of your own body and thoughts, is not something that you can get through social media or through interconnectedness on the net. Yes, you can make use of listening to conversations like this, but you will have to finally sit and take time out on your own, sit by yourself and reflect and grow.
Exactly. What you've just told now is very important, that we've forgotten to be more introspective.
Yeah.
People are not being aware of their own actions.
Yeah.
I remember someone who's a friend of, she's a very good friend of mine, and she got married to a very good guy. And then she's just called up, and then she's like, you know what, one of my own other friend has got married to another person. Then she's like, kind of comparing her family, her extended family, with the other person's extended family. Although she's like very happy with her own family, but she's like, Namita, there's this kind of a comparison which keeps coming. I said, you look at yourself right now, where you're standing. You have maybe, what you're seeing on social media, those happy pre-wedding and post-wedding pictures are not something which give you actual reality of things, and how they are shot at is something everybody knows. People do all kinds of adventures to shoot them. But when you sit back and reflect on the life wherein you're staying day to day, there's so much that we are much more than what is being projected.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely. You
and I sincerely believe, when we do this breath work, like even when we sit for some time and do a bit of deep breathing, you must have also recommended that to a lot of people. People become
yeah.
aware. They become aware of
Yeah.
their emotions, their body. So this helps people to even go inwards, which I really
Yes.
like. I really like that point that you just touched upon about mindfulness and introspection. I really agree with you completely on that.
Yeah, we've kind of forgotten it because of the heavy competitive comparison of, of these sculpted perfections that you see on social media of everyone's lives. And where do you see on social media someone just having a, like a daily routine? It's almost not there. And even that will be primed up, like with proper things. And is it is an illusion. It is a perfect illusion and it's a sculpted illusion. How many apps do you have to beautify yourself, to change the colors of your surroundings? I mean, don't you do that?
You
Everybody
do that.
does it, but
Even I've
that
done
is,
that. Yeah. So I see a lot of videos on, what I eat in a day by so many celebrities. I mean, they talk about avocados like wo to ghar ke bahar hi uगte. It is not like that. They must have
yeah,
had it once and they must have spoken about it. But it doesn't
yeah,
mean that it is absolutely true that they must have had that salad every day. It's not true.
yeah,
What
yeah,
I eat in a day is like one day what they must have eaten that they are sharing with you. The
yeah,
same thing goes with my travel things. I travel So there are a lot of people who say, oh wow, tum to bahut acha travel karte ho, but they don't understand this entire things behind.
Yeah.
You have been in this industry, you know what all preparations go pre,
Yeah.
and then after you come back, how dog tired anybody is. So
Yes.
people do not, I mean, we at the same time need to sit back and realize ki, to come to that particular photograph or to come to that travel destination or to eat that food, that person has worked or gone through some things A,
Yeah.
B, C, D. I know some of my own
Absolutely.
very good friends who had been very good on Facebook, like, you know, their relationship used to be the perfect, and now they don't even see eye to eye each other. You know, I'm not talking about the romantic relationships, I'm talking even about the friendships.
Yeah, very true. Very true. So, what we have to disconnect with social media, because we spoke a lot about the positives and how we can use this interconnectedness that is now new for the whole civilization, for the world. It's a new phase. So, there's not long enough research into how good or bad it is for you. But if we can disconnect from the illusionary part of it, that there is no perfect, that social media is a sculpted illusion. It's not even just an illusion. It's so well sculpted, the whole space in it, when anyone puts anything forward. That is what we have to understand, that bhai ye unka life nahi hai, ye unka everyday breathing space nahi hai, ये सिर्फ अभी लगाया है सोशल मीडिया पे क्योंकि they want the likes, they want the shares, they also feel good by using it. But you know what? Another thing I feel is that when you feel low because you see something like this and then you put in something else that is better than that, expecting the likes again, ये ना, it's going to make someone else feel bad. तो ये virus के जैसा चलता रहता है unless we cut it out.
Very, very, very
है ना?
important part.
ये समझना जरूरी है कि मैंने अच्छा वाला फोटो लगाया, अच्छा उसने इससे भी अच्छा वाला फोटो लगाया, तो और 10 जन को लगेगा ना कि ये क्या हो गया, इसके लाइफ में इतना अच्छा मोमेंट आया, मेरे लाइफ में क्यों नहीं आया. तो ये वायरस के जैसा स्प्रेड होता जा रहा है अनलेस वी रियलाइज कि भाई टेक अ पॉज, टेक अ ब्रीदर, इंट्रोस्पेक्ट करो, रिफ्लेक्ट करो, इसका यूटिलाइजेशन करो, ये सब का जो हमें दिया गया है, सच गुड इंटरनेट कनेक्टिविटी अक्रॉस द ग्लोब.
I'm very happy that we had this conversation, Lakshmi. I mean, I'm actually recalling a funny incident which happened few months ago. This was before COVID, actually. So, someone had posted their pre-wedding pictures. I mean, which was done after their wedding of so many years. They took a, uh, proper photo session. The couple did that after so many years of marriage. So, so, so people had commented very nice things, and one person wrote back, अब क्यों करने की जरूरत थी. They said अभी वो ट्रेंड चल रहा है ना कि प्री वेडिंग हमारे टाइम में नहीं था चल रहा. So I mean, people get so influenced with social media. नहीं, हमें भी चाहिए. अरे, we also need to see our own limitations that we forget.
Yeah,
We forget our
absolutely.
limitations. कि, like how you mentioned, if I'm going to compare my salary slip with Ambani or, Bill Gates, it's not right.
I will be in the lowest self-esteem every month when I look at that and I say, yeah, I only earn that much.
Right. I enjoyed this conversation with you. Thoroughly enjoyed. I'm very happy that we had this conversation on about social media,
Yeah.
and I'm really glad that you took out your time for my channel like this.
Not at all, Amita. My pleasure. And I'm very glad you asked me about the positive aspects of social media, because many times I'm telling my parents who come in for counseling for their children, for, if they sometimes the parents feel the children are addicted to social media, but they may not be addicted and they may be addicted. That is not what I'm commenting on, but on the fact that sometimes parents themselves don't realize that there are a lot of positive aspects to being connected on the social media, and that is what parents need to understand, because it's frustrating for the younger generation to tell the older generation that, listen, I'm not on social media just for, doing nothing. I am using social media for benefiting myself, for benefiting my growth, career wise and personally. So let me be, as long as the person understands that and his actual social media behavior is similar. I don't think the parents should always think just blindly. It's like, say, cigarette smoking is injurious to your health. Come what may, it's addictive and it's bad. But social media is not like that. Just being on social media doesn't mean it's bad for your mental health or it's bad for the mental well being of the child. We have to learn to understand the difference.
Like I'll just give you an example of what you just now told about positivity of social media. My brother used to watch this YouTube videos, and he
Okay.
lost 20 kilos just by practicing the kind of fitness exercises they were showing at home. I mean, I was like, after a very long time, I came back home for because of the COVID, and I came back home. And in that point of time, I realized he's lost so much of weight. I asked him, "Kahan se kya kiya? Gym gaya?" He said, "No, no, no. I watched it on YouTube and I did it at home." So he
Then,
said, so that is like a power of social media. That's also a positive thing about social media.
absolutely.
And
Totally,
we,
totally.
yeah, and we see that even on Twitter, there's so many fake news which goes on, and then that are busted by people that are being told that this is wrong, this is right. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have, and I know a lot of people have benefited from social media. People go missing, they put it up on the social media. He's missing blood donation, ke liye you put it on social media. Small, small things. I mean, but that means a lot to a lot of people.
Yeah, rescue happens so many times because of social media, because there's an instant connection. So we need to value the positives of social media, positives of interconnectedness, and discount and understand what it is that doesn't help us. It's the same thing of all aspects of life. But since this is so new, we have not yet fully understood it. I guess we are on our way to understanding it. This medium of
Right.
communication, this medium of connectedness, we'll understand it slowly.
And it's an inherent human need to get connected.
Yes, absolutely. We are social beings.
And that is why we won't, as long as we are there, that social media is going to be there. So we've got to live with that in a way. And now that you've told so many good tips also to be, being better from social media, to be better, to learn much. So I think our viewers will enjoy that.
I
Thank
hope
you so
so.
much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, Lakshmi.
Thank
Thank you so much
you.
for coming.
Thank you. And